Welcome back to Keep It Real Boxing. This is Cypherbox. So I read an article on boxingscene.com the other day, and the headline to the article was WBC may create rule that blocks parents from working a corner. Now we'll link this article in the description of the video so you can read it for yourself, of course. But it reads this: the days of a father running the corner of his son during boxing matches could very well be numbered, at least according to the World Boxing Council, which is currently scrutinising the parental role. Mindful of the implications of a father and son dilemma, the WBC are conducting an ongoing pilot program, doing interviews, gathering data, following a proposal made during the WBC's Miami convention regarding parents in the corner of a fighter as chief seconds. The WBC has concerns over a potential mental conflict where a fighter will continue to push himself even with their health at risk because their parent is in the corner. Mauricio Suleiman said, "We believe there is a natural obstacle and we are evaluating what is happening. There is a situation which mixes emotions, and it's our experience that it is not recommendable to have fathers in the corner. Having said that, there are many fighters today who are working with a parent for a long time, so we are carefully looking into it. You are much more demanding of your son for school grades and in any sport, and the son has much more pride in the presence of his father, so he doesn't give up as dad is right there." Now this article came out on Wednesday, and it's really funny that this article's come out this week and it's the WBC who are saying this, because obviously tonight, Saturday night, we've got Danny Garcia versus Shawn Porter. Both fighters have been trained their entire careers from amateur to pro by their fathers, Angel Garcia and Kenny Porter. Now if you were to go over to Showtime Sports YouTube channel, you'll find an interview that was conducted with Danny Garcia's father, Angel Garcia, and Kenny Porter, the father of Shawn Porter. Just the two trainers. It was kind of like a trainer interview, and the interviewer was asking him questions regarding this as well. That is there a conflict? Like, do you get worried for your son in the ring when he's fighting? How hard is it for you guys, etc., etc.? And I think, if I remember right, both of them turned around and said you have to turn that off and be a trainer in that situation, and you got to turn off that parental side of your emotions where you get worried or you're full of fear that they're going to get hurt or injured, and you got to help your fighter win the fight. Now I can understand where the WBC are coming from with this, because as a parent you're more demanding of your son in those situations. Let's be honest, yeah. I remember when I used to play football as a kid, over here in the UK. I used to play Sunday league, for the school team, etc., and stuff like that. And you would always and there's always parents there, supporting their kids and stuff like that. And sometimes some of them can get a bit out of control. They're literally screaming at their kids when they do something wrong, or do you understand? And being extremely critical and pushing them and getting them to do things that you normally wouldn't do outside of the advice of your own coach and stuff like that. So, and putting pressure on them, basically unnecessary pressure, and taking the fun and the enjoyment out of it. Now obviously boxing is a completely different sport. Let's not forget, you're putting your health, your risk, your life on the line when you're in the ring. So I can understand where they're coming from, that could a parent be pushing their son too hard? Could they potentially push them to the point where they could potentially be injured, or they're potentially like, I said, I'm done, this guy's really, this guy's got too much power, he's causing me, some sort of pain, or I've got some sort of injury that, I need to get pulled out of the fight now. And, when they're talking to their trainer, who happens to be their father, and they're saying, hey, you know what, you might have to throw in the towel, or I want to pack it in, or whatever it is, whether it be at amateur level or pro level, and the father starts talking to him, no, you could do this, you could do it, you can, do you know what I mean? So I can understand, and then the fighter continues to fight and then ends up seriously getting hurt. So I can understand where the WBC are coming from with this, because and sometimes it's just a case of that there are issues the issues can occur between fighters and a fighter and his father, who happens to be his trainer. So you look at examples of Floyd Mayweather and his father, Floyd Mayweather Sr., you know, at the beginning of the career, you know, his father was extremely demanding, extremely strict. You know, it's well documented, you know, what his father was like when he was younger, when he was an amateur, you know, how tough he was on him. You know, there were certain things he couldn't do as a kid. He couldn't play basketball because he could end up injuring himself, and that will mean that he won't be able to fight and stuff like that. So, you know, and Floyd Mayweather resented that, you know, and, you know, eventually, you know, Roger Mayweather took over as his head trainer, you know, and he kept it there. And there were other underlying issues in there as well, don't get me wrong, but, you know, those were some of the things that Floyd Mayweather didn't like when his father was training him. You know, I think Sugar Ray Mosley even at one point got rid of his father in his corner because he didn't think his father was the best thing for him, you know, at some point in his career. You know, but in some cases it works. You know, Shawn Porter says that him and his father, they have a great relationship and it works, yeah, and it seems to work, yeah, in my opinion. Danny Garcia with Angel Garcia also, but then you have to ask the question: if Shawn Porter or Angel Garcia, or if Danny Garcia had different trainers, would they be better fighters right now? You know, would they have a different style of fighting right now? You know, it's an interesting debate whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing. You know, you also have to consider, you know, will the father, if needed, throw the towel in at the right time? I would say most parents would. But you may get that odd parent who turns around and says, no, not yet, give him another round. Or not. Do you know what I mean? So there's a health risk there as well to the fighter, in my opinion. So I can understand where the WBC are coming from with this. But it's interesting, you know, if they were to put that kind of rule in place, that would probably mean Danny Garcia would never fight for a WBC belt again. Because Danny Garcia has turned around and said on numerous occasions that if his father is not in his corner, he'll retire from boxing. Simple as that. Shawn Porter, I think, would be the same as well. You know, he'll turn around and say that, you know, well, I won't fight for the WBC belt then, or they all want to be ranked by them, etc., anything like that, because, you know, I want my father in my corner. So it's an interesting debate. You know, is it the right thing to do? Isn't it the right thing to do? You know, is it right to have the parent in there? Could the parent be pushing the son too much, the fighter too much? Could it be the case that, you know, is it the best choice to have the father in there? You know, because they'll throw in the towel, you know, as soon as they see their child seriously hurt, or will they, you know, continue to allow the fight to continue even if their son's hurt? You know, it's an interesting debate, I think, personally. It's not one that I have the answers to, don't get me wrong, I don't. You know, I'm not too sure where I stand with it either myself, but I just thought it was an interesting article and an interesting debate. And, you know, basically, you know, I leave the rest to you guys. You know, let me know, what do you think about the WBC potentially putting a rule in place where they will not allow a parent? They're not saying that they won't allow a parent to train a fighter who's their son. They're saying basically that they will not allow a trainer in the corner as a second. But at the same time, if you're going to be the second in the corner, then you need to be the head trainer as well, because you've got to have that relationship, that understanding. You know, the second needs to know what their fighter can and cannot do in the ring and how they respond and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, look, I just thought it was an interesting article, an interesting topic and debate. Let me know what you think. As always, guys, like, share and subscribe. Until next time, this is Cypherbox reminding you to keep it real.